About 5 months ago, I had an upsetting situation that almost cost me my job. I teach at a university. It's a relatively startup university. And one day after class, it was about 9 p.m., and after class, I went to the break room to make a bag of popcorn, and I was just about to open my favorite YouTube channel and just relax a little bit. And a student had come in. It was not my office hours, and it was really not. It was the break room was really not for students. But he came by to ask me something about getting his homework set up. He couldn't install some software or something like that, and I really should have just said, could you come back during my office hours? But for some reason, I started to answer him. He got very long-winded, and I just couldn't wait to get back to my popcorn. I had already started eating it. The whole time, my mouth just kept watering, and I couldn't answer him in a straight way. I kept thinking back to the popcorn, back to the video I was watching. I love chemistry. I don't teach chemistry, but I really love watching it as a hobby. I sometimes do these experiments, and it just annoyed the fuck out of me. And not because of the student, but just because of the situation I was in. And long story short, I got a bad evaluation from. I don't know if it's him. I got one bad evaluation that I presume was because of that situation. I got 8 or 9 very good evaluations, um, and it woke me up. This was shortly before the new year. I made myself a New Year's resolution that I needed to normalize my relationship with food and let food be a more active activity. In the past, food was very passive for me. The way I would know this would be I would be taking out the garbage, I would be cleaning out my car, especially if I needed to use the car for a date and I really needed to clean it out. There were so many food wrappers I had long since forgotten about. And then I would have to ask somebody I trust to if the car smells or anything, and then I would have to bring in an ozone generator. And long story short, a lot of times I don't know how much I've eaten until it's all gone, and I didn't really get to enjoy it. And which is a shame because some of the food was not perfectly healthy, especially in the quantity I was eating it in. Not exactly the healthiest thing to do. You know, it costs money, obviously, and then to not get any utility out of it, it's just a waste. But that's not the only time I've done that. What I described with how food getting in the way of my professional life and my social life, that was more the norm for me for many years, almost a decade, I would say. Oh, I've lost jobs over it. I almost dropped out of my PhD studies over it. I've lost relationships over it. I've also lost some family time over it, especially with my brother. He's 13 years younger than me. Um, a lot of times when I really should be spending time with my brother, especially when I go home, all I want to do is go eat, and it's a really frustrating experience when it's going on. I was also thinking about a time last year when I was trying to uh, talk to somebody on the phone, and I couldn't chew and talk at the same time because I wouldn't be able to hear the phone, and I destroyed the phone. It obviously it got me even more frustrated because I couldn't figure out what was happening on the other end of the phone. I think it was a workplace related situation. It was kind of urgent, and I had to go get another phone to find out what was going on. But again, it's not just this last year that I've had this problem. When I was 18 years old, I had a situation where I got into a disagreement. I had gone to, I used to walk a lot. I didn't have a driver's license. I had walked about 2 miles to my favorite grocery store. I was just about to get my favorite snack when I realized I forgot to bring my wallet. And I became such a mess that I cussed at a number of people. And these are people that I normally get along with very well. And I cussed at a number of people. I knocked over some shelves. They were very worried about me. They had called the police to try to find out what was wrong with me. They thought that I thought I was in big trouble. It turns out the police weren't really looking to arrest me or anything. It was that they were worried about me. Where else have I done this? it's a big problem. Every time I have to go somewhere where I can't eat or something, I used to dread going to these places. Now I kind of look forward to them. Right now I'm actually 14 hours into I fast 14 to 16 hours every day now, and sometimes I go on a longer fast, mostly to enjoy to show that life can be enjoyed without constantly. It used to be the other way around. I would eat non-stop for about 16 hours a day. It used to be that way. But I want to show myself that life can be enjoyed without constantly having something in your mouth. I used to only live life in between nibbles. It's a very sad existence, if you will. It's kind of like some people who can only live life in between their cigarettes or in between their beer or in between their lines of heroin. I used to live life like that, but with food. Just a very sad experience now that I look back at it. I was just enjoying a long distance walk because right now everything is shut down and there's nobody to bother me. And I was just thinking, 10 years ago I could never do this because I would want to stop at one place for one food that I was craving, and then 5 minutes later I would crave something else. I would head back to that store, and God forbid if during the walk my credit card got frozen for some reason and I couldn't get my favorite foods, and it's the middle of the night, I can't call the credit card company, maybe my phone doesn't work. God forbid if that happened, even just a few years ago. Live for the food. Don't let food be the reason that you're going from one thing to the next. Live life, and food. Let food be the fuel for how you go about your life. Anyway, so my New Year's resolution was to normalize my relationship with food. Basically, it's kind of like, if you watch my last video, I had an anniversary this year. 10 years ago, I discovered that you can go out and have fun with or without a girl to go out with. In 2020, I discovered that you could enjoy activities with or without food, right? It's kind of like that. So every 10 years, I discover something something like that. Thanks for watching.